The worst day of your life already happened, and part of you is still living in it, still replaying it, still asking the same question at 3 in the morning. Why me? Why that loss? Why that betrayal? Why the one thing you never saw coming? You've spent years quietly at war with your own past, fighting it, resenting it, wishing one single moment had gone differently. But what if that moment, the one you'd erase in a heartbeat, was the exact thing that built the person watching this right now? What if the wound wasn't the accident? What if the wound was the point? There was a man who discovered the answer, and he found it in chains. Rome, nearly 2,000 years ago. A boy is born into slavery. He has no name of his own. The name history remembers him by Epictetus, simply means acquired, property, a thing you buy. He is owned by a wealthy and cruel administrator in the court of the Emperor Nero. And one day, according to the story passed down for centuries, his master does something almost too brutal to describe. He begins to twist Epictetus's leg, slowly, for amusement, for power. Epictetus does not scream. He does not beg. He simply looks up and says calmly, "If you keep going, you will break it." The master keeps going, and the leg breaks. Epictetus, without a flicker of panic, says only this: "There. I told you it would break. Now stop. Sit with that for a second. A man is being crippled for life, and he is calmer than you were in traffic this morning. Calmer than you are when your phone battery hits 1%. How? How is that even human?" Most people hear that story and assume he simply felt nothing, that he was numb, cold, broken inside long before the bone. But here is what almost no one realizes. That calm was not the absence of feeling. It was the presence of something far more powerful, something he had trained deliberately, like a muscle. And it would eventually make a crippled slave one of the most influential minds in human history, studied by emperors, generals, and prisoners of war for the next 20 centuries. He had discovered a secret, and it starts with a single uncomfortable idea. Epictetus divided the entire universe into two categories, just two: things you control and things you don't. Into the first pile, the things you control, he placed almost nothing: your judgments, your choices, your response. That's it. That's the whole list. Into the second pile, the things you don't control, he placed almost everything else: your body, your reputation, other people, the past, the weather, whether the leg breaks. And here is the trap that swallows nearly every human being alive. We pour our energy, our anger, our sleepless nights into the second pile. Pile we cannot move. We rage at what already happened. We argue with reality as if a strong enough feeling could reach back through time and change it. You have done this. You know you have. The conversation you keep rewriting in your head, where this time you finally say the perfect thing. The version of your life where they stayed, where the diagnosis was different, where you took the other job, the other flight, the other chance. You live in that ghost world, and every hour you spend there, the real world moves on without you. Epictetus saw that this arguing with what is, was the true source of human suffering, not the event, the resistance to the event. But recognizing the trap is not the same as escaping it, because there's a deeper problem. Even if you accept what happened, accepting it still feels like losing, like surrender, like letting the world win. And that is exactly where the Stoics discovered something that turns everything upside down, because they were not after acceptance at all. They were after something that sounds, at first, completely insane. Fast forward 100 years. A different man now holds Epictetus's worn copybook of teachings close to his heart. But this man is no slave. He is the most powerful human being on planet Earth. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, a man who could have anything, order anyone, silence any voice, and he is miserable in a way you would recognize instantly. His body is failing him. He is chronically ill, in near constant pain, barely eating, barely sleeping. His empire is bleeding, plague sweeping through the cities, killing millions, wars grinding on at the frozen edges of the world. He is betrayed by a trusted general. His children are dying young, one after another. Of his many children, most will not outlive him. This is a man who has every reason to hate his fate, to ask the same question you ask: why me? And at night, in a war tent on a brutal frozen frontier, by candlelight, the ruler of the known world writes private notes to himself. Notes he never intended for another living soul to read. We call them the meditations now. And in those pages, he is not celebrating. He is not flexing his power. He is coaching himself, begging himself, fighting, line by line, to stay sane against the crushing weight of a life that keeps taking. He writes to himself, a phrase that echoes through the ages: accept the things to which fate binds you. Love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Love, not tolerate, not endure. Love. This is the idea the later Stoics circled their entire lives. Centuries after Marcus, a philosopher would give it the name we know it by today. Two Latin words: Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not the acceptance of your fate, not the tolerance of it, the love of it. To look at your life, every scar, every failure, every unbearable loss, and want it, not despite what it cost you, because of what it cost you. And right now, I know exactly what you're thinking. That's a beautiful idea for a book. But how do you actually love the day your world fell apart? How do you love the betrayal, the grief, the ruin? Because that is not a feeling you can fake. And here is where it gets strange. The Stoics never asked you to. Here is the turning point. The thing that took me years to understand. Amor Fati is not a feeling you summon. It is a conclusion you arrive at. The Stoics understood something modern psychology is only now catching up to. Every single thing that has ever happened to you is connected. Pull one thread, and the whole tapestry unravels. That worst day, the one you would erase, is woven into every good thing that came after it. Think about it honestly. The relationship that shattered you taught you what you would never tolerate again. The job you lost forced you to build the thing you actually love. The failure that humiliated you burned away a version of yourself that was never going to make it anyway. Marcus wrote it plainly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. And modern science whispers the very same thing. Psychologists today study something called post-traumatic growth. For decades, we only studied how suffering breaks people. Then researchers noticed something they could not ignore. A large number of people who survive the worst, illness, loss, catastrophe, do not simply recover. They report becoming stronger, deeper, more grateful, more alive than before it happened. Not all of them, but far more than anyone expected. The trauma did not destroy them, it reorganized them. It burned the house down, and they built something they could never have imagined on the ashes. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years before we had the studies. They knew that the fire is not the end of you. The fire is the forge. But, and this is everything, the growth is not automatic. Suffering alone does not transform you. Plenty of people suffer and only grow bitter, harder, smaller. So what separates the person the fire forges from the person the fire consumes? One choice. And you can make it tonight. Here is the answer to the question we opened with. Why the worst thing that happened to you might be exactly what you needed. It is not because pain is good. Pain is pain. It's because the meaning of any event in your life is not fixed. It is still being written. And you hold the pen. The event is in the pile you do not control. It happened. It is done. But the meaning, what it becomes, what you build from it, whether it is your grave or your foundation, that is in the pile you do control. That is yours. It was always yours. So here is the practice. Tonight, before you sleep, take the one memory, the day, the loss, the thing you have been quietly at war with for years. Don't push it away this time. Bring it close. And instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask a different question. Ask, what did this make possible? What did it teach me? Force me to become clear out of my path? You may not find an answer immediately. The wound may still be too fresh, but you will feel something shift. A hairline crack in the wall of resistance you have been pressing against for years, because for the first time, you are not fighting your life. You are shaking hands with it. Do this every night, and slowly, the story rewrites itself. Not the facts, the meaning. And one day, you will catch yourself feeling something you never thought possible about your worst day. Gratitude, even love. That is Amor Fati. Epictetus never got his leg back. Marcus never got his children back. They did not love their fate because it was gentle. They loved it because it was theirs, and it was the only raw material from which a life could ever be built. So here is the truth you can carry out of this. You will never control what happens to you. You will always control what it becomes. Stop waiting for a better past. It is not coming, but the meaning of everything behind you is still, right now, in your hands. And the moment you truly understand that, nothing can break you again. If this reached something in you, subscribe. Stay a while, because the next idea we explore might just be the one that changes everything.